jewelry making friends. My name is Joey Balestrieri. Welcome to my work table and my channel. I am playing today with the beads that I unboxed from this beautiful little subscription box called Bohem style. These beads are it's a monthly subscription. It is shipped directly from the Czech Republic, and this company is called Kraftika, and they do 2 boxes every month. The other one is called Czech Beads Exclusive. This one is called Bohem style. I get both of the boxes and I love them both. They're packed with Czech beads, but this one in particular comes with a little insert that looks like this, and there is a code that you can access a video tutorial for 2 full pieces of jewelry, and all the ingredients are in the box, including the findings, the bead stringing wire, the jump rings, the crimp beads, all of it is there. And you can definitely make those 2 pieces of jewelry, and they are lovely. I'll pop a picture up so you can see what it looked like this month. And so now that I've said all that, I'm gonna say this is what's kind of left in my dish from the unboxing. I loved the colors and the beads and even the sizes of things this month. I love them. These are my favorite colors in the world. So I decided to take the beads and do a multi-strand bracelet because I want them on my wrist so that I can see them and enjoy them. So that's what I decided to do. So, you know, when you get these boxes, you can definitely do the projects that are already laid out if you're a person that likes kits, but I often do my own thing. I've been making jewelry for such a long time, I just can't help myself. So I spared you guys all the stringing because that's like watching paint dry or grass grow. It's so boring. So I'm just gonna pull up my 4 strands. It's a 5-strand bracelet, and I'm just going to show you. This is what they look like together. I mean, these colors are just absolutely luscious. Now, I used everything from this box, but I pulled in just a few things, and I'll tell you as I show you my patterns what I pulled in from my own stash. So I only have these clamped off on one end, so let me make sure that I am not going to lose my patterns. So this is the first pattern, and I've created 4 different patterns, 4 different strands, but they are all exactly the same length. And the only thing on this strand, there are 2 things that I brought in from my own stash. This little 3mm faceted round matte purple bead, but this was from last month's Kraftika box. I had it left over, so I just brought it back in. And then that little gold bead that you see there, I'm going to set this one aside, is this. I'll show you both of the seed beads that I brought in from my own stash. These are from Potomac Beads. It's a Toho seed bead, and it has that perma finish called Old Gold. I love these little seed beads for spacers. They're 11/0s. I just love them. I always keep these on hand. And then also from Potomac Beads, I have these Miyuki seed beads, and they are an 8/0, and they're dyed opaque carnation pink. And they were the absolute perfect match to the little 4mm Czech glass beads that came in this month's box. I mean, a perfect match. So I just brought in seed beads to give me a little bit more to work with, and I wanted more of this pink. So that's the 2 things that you'll be seeing that I brought in. And then I had literally in my little stash just 4 of these Czech glass cathedral beads. I had only 4, and I don't remember where I got them, but I brought those in just to add one of my patterns. And you see here the seed beads that came in the box in between, and I just dotted them with that little gold. So that's my second one. And then I used the tulips that were in the box and those carnation pink and, you know, all those elements again, and that's another little pattern. And the last one is all the same elements, but just a colorful pink and purple and gold strand. So these are done, and I have to create my 4th one. So I don't know if you could tell from the picture, but I borrowed this idea from the project that the company actually you know, had planned out for this box. And what they did is took the little hex beads. There were 3 different colors in this month's box, and I loved all the colors, like a dark purple, a blush pink, and then a really pretty pinky mauve. and they all have that beautiful AB finish on them. And what they did is took jump rings and created a chain by just stringing the jump rings in between each of the hex beads and alternating the color. So I've done a little portion of my chain here, and I have to do a little bit more. The other thing I brought in from my stash is a bracelet connector, or a connector bar that has 5 openings, and I can link this below. This is just an Amazon find, and also a magnetic clasp. And the reason they're in this little tray is because before I even started stringing, I coated everything with my anti-tarnish coating, my Permalac. If you've been on my channel before, you know that's my habit. So I just brushed it front and back all over. It dries in a few minutes. And so these are actually ready to go. So I've changed the colors a little bit. They had like an antique brass findings as the metal in this box, and it's really pretty, but I just prefer the brighter gold. These colors were so very much my favorite. Oh, my frog is back on my windowsill. He visits me like every time I press record on my camera. Probably you can hear him. The microphone does tend to pick him up. I wish he would be quiet. So yeah, I just prefer, like, these are my favorite colors, and I thought, why not also do my favorite metal, which is gold? So I kind of switched to that. So I need to make some more jump rings for my 5th chain, and I just have a little pieces, some scraps of 20 gauge wire, and I am going to take a 6-step bail making plier. So with the bail making plier, I'm going to go to the 2nd largest step. That is the size that I used, and let's see, I'm going to go this way. Yeah, I'm going to go this way. Just place my wire in there. Let's pull it back a little bit so I don't feel it, and I'm just going to make a coil. I'm just going to get as many as will fit on my bail making plier, because I need to make about a 5-inch length of chain. I will stop there, and now all you do is find where you started coiling, and with the flush side, with the back side of your cutters, you just cut a straight line up that coil, 1 ring at a time. Sometimes the cutters will grab 2 at a time, but I don't try to do that. Okay, and I'm going to use this little scrap of wire, and I'll probably have to get some more, and use the tiniest bail on this 6-step bail making pliers. And I am so sorry if you want the millimeter size. I would have to go back to my order and see the 6 sizes this tool makes, because I just don't remember. But I would guess that this one that I'm using to make the chain is about a 5 millimeter, and I would guess that this tiny one is maybe a 3. But I'm going to need some little tiny jump rings for connecting each of my bead pattern strands to the bracelet bar. So, because I'm going to make a loop and then use jump rings to attach it, just so it will be nice and fluid. So I didn't want to waste that little piece of wire, and I can see I need 10 of them. There's 5 on each end, so I'll certainly have to make some more, but at least I didn't waste that little piece of wire. And I'm just going to do the same thing. So I love making my own jump rings, because this is the wire, this 20 gauge wire from Softlex company. I really like it, and it's the wire. It has an anti-tarnish coating, and then I use it for most everything. So when I do a piece, then everything is coordinating. All the color is the same. I really like that. So yeah, with that little scrap, I only got 4 jump rings, but that's okay. That's what I'm going to do when it comes time to attach to here. Just put a little jump ring for each loop. So set the ones I have over there. And now let me just show you how easy this connecting is. This is so fun. I could do 10 miles of chain like this. You just open your jump ring and thread it on. So you can see I have a jump ring on each side. And then let's see, my next color here is the mauve-y one. And just thread that on, and my other pliers and just close the jump ring really well. I even sometimes put my plier inside, and that's all you do. It's so much fun, you guys. Like I said, I could make 10 miles of chain like this. It's really fun, not labor intensive, not hard on the hands, no wrapping. It's so cool. This is so cool. So I'm just going to keep going like that, opening a jump ring, adding in one of those hex beads and closing it. And thank you, thank you, thank you to the Kraftika company for this fun, super easy design idea. I was so thrilled. I just really like, this is so me. I just love what a cool and unusual beaded chain, but super simple. I just think it's amazing. So I'm going to keep doing that until I get this chain the exact same length as my other patterns, and then I have to just make the loops on the end and crimp this off. And this is a simple attachment. I just want to make sure, since I only have one side of my strands here, that I don't lose the stringing work that I've already done. But I want to just hold this up and see about how much more I have to go. Yeah, a few more. Believe it or not, I think by happenstance, I got exactly the right number of jump rings coiled and cut. And I'm just going to finish with one on the end. So both ends are the same, and it looks like I got my length just right. Look how gorgeous that is. It's so simple and it's so fluid. I would like to have a whole necklace out of this. I just think this is such a clever idea. I'm so thrilled that the Kraftika company shared this with us this month. I will get a lot of mileage out of that, because even you could do this even more petite with the O beads or the demi-round spacer beads, which I love to work with as spacers, but any kind of an open hole bead you could do this with and create the most stunning, elegant, and just unusual simple chain. Look how fluid it is. I love it. I'm so happy that this is going to be on a bracelet with all the other beads, because you know, when you wear a bracelet, you see it. You know, you're not just embellishing yourself for others. But so I'm really excited about this project. Okay, I think I can set these out of the way now, and I am going to simply do some crimping on, and this is the bead stringing wire that came in the box. So I think I'm going to use my magical crimping plier, because I really love that plier. I'm going to use some gold filled number 2 crimp tubes, and I need 1, 2, 4, I need 8 of them, because I'll need one for each side. Oh, that's a lot. Let's see. And I have my magical crimping plier, and on this first end of each one, it's going to be really easy, because I don't have to worry about my spacing at all. Just put that crimp tube on and make a loop. I'm going to do very, very small loops on this, just because all these beads are pretty small. And I'm going to fit that number 2 crimp tube in the center of my tool, in that divot, and close. And I have pinched all 4 corners of the tube, and now I'm going to fit it in the opposite direction and close again. And now I'm just going to go around and around, gently opening and closing not so gently actually, a little bit of pressure, and just form that little crimp tube into a bead. It's my favorite method of crimping. And now if it's possible, I will feed the tail through the seed beads, and look, it does go through a few of them. Probably won't go through that 11-0. Actually it does. That's amazing. Okay, so I like that. So then I just think it looks better not to trim your tail so close to where your closure is. See, did it go inside everything? It did. Okay, now this end is obviously a little bit more tricky because I don't want to do it too tight. I also don't want to have any gaps in my strand here. And you could like put the crimp tube on and then feed this through and, you know, go ahead and crimp it right onto the clasp, but I'm going to attach with these little tiny jump rings. I just decided to do that for a little bit of fluidity. So I'm going to feed this back through the crimp tube and then get it going through a few of those seed beads. If it will cooperate. And here's where it's just a matter of getting the tension right. I have to pull that loop down. So I want my loop to match on this side what I did on the other side, but I don't want this to be rigid, so I'm just going to make sure that all the beads have a little bit of space, but I don't want any weird gaps. That should be good. And I'm going to repeat the same thing on this side. Now, I have to be careful that I don't close down and break my last seed bead. So before I put the pressure on the tool, I just want to, before I close down, I want to make sure that I have those beads away from where I'm going to be pinching, and even more so as I do this part, because it's very easy to open this plier and then chomp down on your last seed bead and break it. Okay, so it is done, and I'm going to just trim this little piece of wire as close as I can get it. And my first little part of my bracelet is done, and I'll just go ahead and attach because I'm excited and I want to see what it's going to look like. So just go ahead and attach. And these little jump rings that I've made are really tiny. They can be a little challenging. So like I said, your alternative is to crimp right on to your bracelet bar. Do I want this one on? I haven't even decided how I want to attach the strands, but I think that would be, let's see, do I want to put this one on the outside? I think I'm going to do the chain on the middle and put this one on the outside. I can always rearrange these. That's also one of the reasons I like doing this with a little tiny jump ring, because once I put it on, if I want to rearrange the order in which my strands are connected in my bracelet, like if something isn't looking right or isn't showing, the beads aren't showing with the jump ring, I have the option to do that. So that's the first one. That's how it's going to look, and I'm going to do that exact same thing on all of these other sides and make a few more of these jump rings. So I can, I'm going to go ahead and place the chain that I made. I'm going to go ahead and connect it to the middle, and then if I want to rearrange these, like I say, I did these little jump rings and I totally can, but this is what my starting point anyway in the design, in the pattern. This has been so much fun to make all of these patterns with beads that I love. I mean, these colors, in the unboxing, I was joking that the Kraftika company just said, let's do Joey colors this month because this is totally me. So That looks so pretty. I love that. And now, oh, I can see I might need to add one more jump ring and one more little hex bead to the bottom of this, but that's okay, I can do that. So I'm going to do that same thing, do my crimping on both ends of 4 strands and make some more of these small jump rings, and I'll be right back to show you the finish. Okay, I have played around with how I wanted to connect my strands and also with how I wanted to connect my clasp. So I made a step down in size of another jump ring, and I did a double jump ring on the loop on the clasp and then a double jump ring through those and through the magnetic clasp, and I did the same thing on this side, and it just made my length really perfect. And I love the architecture of it just because of this ornate bracelet bar and everything that I have going on here. So this looks amazing. It is really easy to put on and off because I got my length really good. And oh well, I have it twisted. I was wondering because it snapped right on every time that I was playing with it. There you go. So I got my length really, really good, and this just does a great job finding itself. And I love this bracelet. I just love it. It turned out so great. So I am going to do one more thing. I went into my stash of head pins, and I found this beautiful little ornate head pin that I just love. I actually forgot that I had them. And there were 3 of these silk glass teardrop beads with that kind of antique bronze on the top and bottom, and another little hex bead and another little pink bead, and I had one little wavy spacer bead literally sitting off to the side of my table. So I just created this little stack, and that is going to be my charm. Actually was considering not doing a charm on this piece, but you know, I always want one. So I'm just going to put a simple loop in here using my 1.5 millimeter one-step looper. I'm just going to feed the head pin wire through the guide hole in the back of the tool gently. I like to gently close the plier just so that I can see how everything is landing. I'm really careful here. I usually pull this back just like a millimeter or so before I close the tool, and I just close it. I can see that it made that nice fresh blunt cut, and then I just bend my little wire stack of beads down. And so what I just did is made that loop centered on my stack of beads. And depending on how the wire goes in, or if it's a really tough wire like stainless steel, sometimes you have to go in and tidy up your loop and close it a little bit, which, you know, is okay with me. I open and close my pliers on it, so I get really beautiful consistent loops with that tool. I love it. I can link it below. And then I'm going to take another one of the tiny little jump rings that I use to connect all my strands and connect this with a jump ring. You can just open that simple loop and connect your charm, but I just like the way a jump ring works for that. And I'm going to grab both of the jump rings. I'm going to hook it to both of them. So this is a little bit of a jump ring puzzle here at the end of this bracelet, but I like it. These are like, I think this is a 4 millimeter, so it's a little tricky to get a hold of. Just make sure that is closed really, really well, as always. And so now I have this beautiful little charm dangling from my bracelet. I love it. I'm going to come back in with my little dish because this is just fashion jewelry. So I'm going to give a little coat of my Permalac to my head pin here, and also that little disc spacer. And for those of you who have not seen this product before, it's just a really simple anti-tarnish coating. You can even like brush, if you have a metallic wash on a bead, you can even brush it right onto that to protect it and keep it, you know, looking exactly the way that it is. And you really don't need 2 coats, but I'm pretty generous with it. It just works so well to keep things from darkening. And if you accidentally like brush a matte bead with it, it doesn't really do anything. This is a semi-gloss, so you don't really see it. And anything like this that's just fashion, fun jewelry that I love the look of, I just like give that a little coating. And I'm gonna do, now all my jump rings and all my other metal are anti-tarnish coated wire, and I've already done this. So that's all you do. And I'm just gonna, it will dry by the time I pretty much get the lid on this. It's a really great thing to do. So if you are interested in the Bohem style look, this is, as I said, there are 2 projects that you can make, and they're laid out for you. And if you're interested, because you're a person that likes kits and you like things planned out and you just love doing the handiwork, this box is perfect for you. But if you're like me and you have experience and you love doing your own thing, it's also perfect because you get just amazing beads to work with. And I have all of this left over, even with this multi-strand bracelet. So I can put a link in the description box below if you're interested. It is very reasonable, worldwide shipping, very reasonable, even cheaper than from some state to state shipping things. So I'm always really impressed with that. And let's see how I'm doing here. It's dry already, and I just love being able to see these beautiful beads on my wrist. They are just, it's just so pretty. So anything else that I've used in my project that I know where I got it, I will link it in the description box. Just for your convenience, I work really hard on those description boxes. And also, this is my version of a Gem Hawks ring that she did for the Jessie James Beads summer camp. And I have a little nanny job that I do every summer. My little friend is 7 years old. She's the daughter of a friend of mine. And I keep her for a couple of weeks at the end of every summer, and she loves to make jewelry. She told me yesterday that when she grows up, she wants to be a YouTuber. And I said, oh, well, what is going to be your content on your channel? And she said, making jewelry. And so it was so sweet. But I made a ring for myself, kind of a different version, but based on Gem Hawks' design from the Jessie James Beads summer camp class. And I also did a little version for her. I'll pop up a picture of us wearing our rings. And so let me know if you're interested in a ring tutorial on how I did my version. It was a really fun class. I love the summer camp this year. It was great, but I did most of my classes after they had gone live because my son's had some hospital appointments and I have this little girl with me. So, but I'm getting around to the projects and I just love this one. So let me know if you want me to do a video on how I did the Gem Hawks design. So I thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone is doing well and having a great end of the summer. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I really would appreciate it. It really helps support my work and give me a thumbs up. And I hope everyone is safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. See you in the next video. Ciao, jewelry making friends.